Happy Valentine's Day! The only time you get a pass for presenting tickets to a basketball game to your sweetie as a gift would have been in Toronto in 2016 for the NBA All-Star Game. Hi, I'm Chris May, host of This Day in Weather History, a podcast from the Weather Network in Canada. These tickets were very, very rare indeed. They always are for corporate schmooze fests. Celebrities and superstar athletes flock to Toronto like Canadian geese on a Florida golf course to take part in and be seen at the festivities during the NBA All-Star Weekend. But this was not Florida, like at all, this frozen day in weather history. What's the one thing the world stereotypes Canada for? It's cold. So can anyone explain to me just how so many visitors who were in town for the NBA All-Star Game were blown away by the weather? To be fair to the visitors of that weekend, the city of Toronto had issued an extreme cold weather alert. That is, when it gets so severe that it is a threat to life. But then again, to be fair to the city of Toronto, it was just the 7th of the 2015-16 winter. The problem was that there was one for every day of the 3-day All-Star festivity weekend. Temperatures one morning tipped off the day at minus 23 degrees Celsius, but with the wind chill, it felt closer to minus 34. That was definitely not the conditions for anyone who needed to go for a morning run or to a local coffee shop. The frigid temperatures proved shocking for some stars. The late and immortal Kobe Bryant, who spent his entire career playing in the glare and the heat of the Southern California sun, actually and physically struggled to find words to describe the feeling when he said through chattering teeth, quote, "It's cold. It's really, really cold. Really cold." But then he quickly followed it up by commenting, "But it really is great to be here. This is a beautiful city, truly deserving to have an all-star game." I think he had to say that. Meanwhile, rapper, TV, and movie star Snoop Dogg, one of my favorites, goes to a ton of sporting events. Man, this dude loves and is seen regularly at all major events, and he has been to Toronto a lot. In his own unique way, he explained the sudden drop in temperature when he said, and I quote, "We brought the cool, 'cause we so cold, baby, we cool." Nice. I love it. Meanwhile, those who were there to capture the action and not just bask in it had challenges of their own. As an example, a photographer trying to find a weather shot had to call it quits when his camera stopped working in the cold. Apparently, no one told him that we acclimate our cameras to the cold before venturing out into a shockingly opposite temperature. Or we just shoot through a very clean window. That's our secret. The All-Star events kicked off on Friday the 12th with the Celebrity Game and the Rising Stars Challenge. This is where the arena jammed for stars and talent. Lacing up for the celebs included actor Jason Sudeikis and comedian Kevin Hart. That was on the American side. On the Canadian side were tennis pros Milos Raonic and Eugenie Bouchard, along with Win Butler of Arcade Fire. And I think they needed someone to guard Hart, so Win Butler was a good choice, if you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, the Canadian side was coached by Toronto rapper and Raptors global ambassador Drake, Toronto Blue Jays slugger at the time Jose Bautista, and two-time NBA MVP Canadian Steve Nash. Tradition in the NBA is to pepper the front row courtside seats with celebrities to be seen for television, and one of the most prolific is New York Knicks superfan and famed director Spike Lee. And true to form, he was spotted courtside. Other celebs spotted in the city included actor Vin Diesel, rappers Ludacris and Snoop Dogg, as I mentioned earlier, celebrity chef Guy Fieri and singer Usher, Super Bowl MVP Von Miller, and NBA legend Michael Jordan. Raptors All-Star at the time, DeMar DeRozan, came to the defense of the weather in the city when he said, and I quote, "Nobody seems to believe me when I tell them this has been the worst. It's been a great winter up until these last couple of days, but nobody seems to believe me though." End quote. While his teammate and close friend, starting guard and de facto captain of the 2019 world champion Toronto Raptors, Kyle Lowry, was asked if friends and family who were in town were talking about the weather. The All-Star guard replied simply, "Everyone is." And they were, this day in weather history. Tomorrow is February 15th, and we are off to Newfoundland for this one. The town of Badger has a long history of flooding dating back as far as 1916. But on February 15th of 2003, it was the most severe in terms of sheer depth of water and damages that made it necessary to cover it tomorrow on this day in weather history with me, your host, Chris May.